Okay, is that better? I think that should do it. We'll give it a minute and just make sure y'all are getting sound. I think that should do it. I can see the bar moving now. And hopefully you can hear me, yes? Let's see, we'll go 1, 2, 3. There's a little bit of a delay, so we'll do 1, 2, yes. Okay. Okay, good. I just had to, sometimes when you don't reinstall it, when it was just on from last time, it just didn't work. So anyway, we've got it going. So what I was saying was it's great to be here. We've got tons of questions. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'll watch the thing to see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is look here. I had a lady who sent me some photos, and she wants to know what's wrong. So I want you to understand that what she's doing is she's making pattern 600, and she's making it in a knit. So it's a classic blouse, but she's using a knit sleeve and a knit armhole, which I've said to you many, many times. I do it. I love it. I've got a sample on, so it's exactly what I'm doing. But here's a couple lessons, okay? And she's a good example of close, but not as close as she wants to be. So number one, let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. When I go from a woven to a knit, I did this arrow, the red arrow, because I go down in size. You don't need to make the same size. If you make the same size, you're going to get a little bit of sloppiness, and this is what you're seeing. I put a red arrow there because if you notice, it's a little wide through the shoulders on her, and you're seeing this in the front, but you're especially seeing it in the back. We'll get to the back here in just a minute. Also, you notice there's a little, the circle. There's like, I want to call it wrinkles there. Now, those wrinkles could be two things. It could be number one, that the shoulder needs to be lifted, or number two, that the dart needs to be larger. Now, I'm going to go to the second picture that she sent, because the second picture, you can see those wrinkles even better, and the shoulders are too wide for her for a knit. So if you're a size 3 in the classic blouse, you want to go down to a size 2 shoulder width. You don't have to go down in circumference, but you should take your template and you should move it in for a narrower shoulder. It will look cleaner and better. All right, so I want to look at the back now and see here you see these wrinkles where the circle is. That's showing you that the shoulder angle is wrong. So I drew that red angled line at the shoulder. That shoulder needs to be picked up. In other words, it needs to be increased. The angle needs to be increased. And you really see it in that particular case. Let me just kind of show it a little better if I can. I think that's all I can. But anyway, that needs to be increased. And see how wide it is off the shoulder? So again, it looks a little sloppy, and that's simply because you don't need, it needs to be on the top of the shoulder, not hanging over the edge, and that will clean up those angular wrinkles back there and then straighten up that shoulder seam. Now, when you straighten up that shoulder seam, in my opinion, it will clean up that gap in the front bust, or I guess the circle. It will probably clean that up. You always want to start at the top first and clean up the shoulder seam first, and then go to the bust dart. All right, if you have a size 5W in the classic blouse, use a size 4 in the knit. I hate to go sizes on this. Just look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Or you don't even have to go down in size. Just go narrower in the shoulders. That's all. It doesn't matter. A lot of times I say size, but I don't necessarily mean size as much as I mean just go a little narrower. So size is a little bit too literal, but you understand the concept. Okay? Okay, so this next one was sent to me, and she said she wanted me to look at this and tell her what's wrong. When you send a black pair of pants, I can't see anything. I literally can see nothing. I can't help her one bit with those pants because I can't see anything. So just lesson to everybody, and I don't, nobody knows who this is, so I don't mean to pick out on anybody. But clearly, if you can't see the wrinkles, then I can't either, and I can't help. I'd love to help. We do have some pants that we're going to help with tonight, so hope, maybe she can pick up the answers from the other garments that we're going to see. Okay, then the next question is, she measured the size for the patterns, and she has one size for the, she knows her size, but she doesn't know how to use cup size. She doesn't know how to be guided for the cup size, and you always just use the same cup size as you use for bra cup sizing. So blouse cup sizing and bra cup sizing is very different, but as a guide, whatever cup size you're using for your bra, just use that in the patterns. And then you can read the wrinkles and see if that's a right place to start or not. But you would just use the same size as your cup size as your bra. Okay, the next question is, God did not give me a neck. So she's worried about one of the new patterns. One of the new patterns, I didn't do a picture of it, is 723. It has a mandarin collar. It's a very narrow collar. So I wouldn't, y'all are pre-worried about it. Don't pre-worry. I mean, just make a muslin, and you can always narrow that. You can always take it down. There's lots of ways to change it, but don't pre-worry about it. The next part of that question was, if you look at the back of 600, if you look at the back at 723, the waist is fairly close or larger, I can't remember, to the bust. Well, that's because you have to get it off. It goes over your bust. You can't have it smaller, so the numbers are not wrong. The numbers are right. You can't have it a lot smaller than your bust, or you can't get it off. So remember that you can always use elastic to create. Oh, you know what? I have the back here. Yeah, the waist is larger than the bust, and that's simply because it's a woven and you've got to get it off. But I mean, you could do darts. You could do a side zip. But if you get it too small, you can't get it off. So just keep that in mind, okay? Okay. Hi, everybody, you guys. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, next question. When I raise my arm wearing blouse 600, the whole blouse pulls up. Is a larger armhole needed, or is a larger blouse size needed? Neither one. A larger sleeve size is needed. So, and if you stand there in front of a mirror and you raise your arm, what you see is that the arm circumference, the cap line, is what's maxed out first. So what you want to do is increase that circumference first, and it will increase the mobility. So don't make a larger blouse, don't make a larger armhole, make a larger sleeve. When you make a larger sleeve, you could shorten the cap height to keep the armhole the same size, so that you don't have to enlarge the armhole. And we've got lots of notes on that. Gosh, What's Up My Sleeve is a good reference for that, but we've done it on several occasions. Just look for sleeves and armholes and you should be able to find it. The next question is regarding 4222. It's the fit and flare, and she is 5'3". And so she's worried with a fit and flare that it will be too long. And she's probably right, it probably will be. So she wants to know where she should shorten. I'm going to tell you that I would shorten right off the bottom, because it will do two things. Number one, it will shorten it. But number two, it will automatically make it narrower and probably more proportion to her height. So the easiest thing is to take off the bottom. If you take off too much, I mean, you want to keep a proportion to the top. I think the proportions on that are 1 to 2. The top of the skirt, the bodice is double that number, and it's equal to the skirt. So don't take too much off the skirt without affecting the top. But depends on how much you want to shorten it. But you could take 2 or 3 inches off and not worry about the top portion, and it will automatically make it narrower, which will be better for your shorter stature anyway. Okay, so just take it right off the bottom is the answer. All right, my question is, what is the maximum size dart you can take at the center back hip line when you when you're doing pants? So the hip line, there's not really a maximum, but I don't think I've seen a case where I've gone over 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, three-quarter inch pinch should be plenty. After that, there's problems elsewhere, and we need to start looking at the top of the inseam. Okay. All right. So When changing neckline, okay, whoa, okay, sorry. What are the rules for pressing the sleeve hems on blouses, jackets, and knit tops? Is it toward the body or toward the sleeve? So your seams are pressed either down or to the center. When you hold your arm out, the seams go down. So that means the front seam goes down, the back seam they go down. So just hold your sleeve out and think down, and that way you'll know which way to press them. Press down. The next question is, when changing the necklines or the armholes, I tend to get gapping. I fix this by taking a dart. How can I accommodate while changing the style line? So you guys, I need this question. It's too generic. When fixing a gap at the armhole, I don't ever want to fix a gap at the armhole by putting a dart. If there's a gap at the armhole, I should either be changing the shoulder seam or the bust dart. One of those two are controlling the armhole gap. Okay, the second part of that question is, if I have a gap at the neckline, you can take a dart from the armhole, from the neckline to the armhole without having any visible dart. In our LCD class, we just talked about visible darts and invisible darts. If you're in that class, watch that lesson again. It's a very valuable lesson. All right, everybody still okay? Okay, no, I'm just always worried I'm missing questions over there. But I'd have to get a specific question. General gapping, the armhole I can tell you to go to the shoulder and the bust dart. But with neckline gapping, the shoulder seam could be the problem, the center front seam could be the problem. It just could be several issues, and it depends on the pattern. It depends, there's different answers. Okay, for this question is, what causes a dart tip to look like this? And I would say pressing. That dart has not been pressed. It needs to be pressed, and I think it'll look fine as long as it's pressed. Press it down toward the hem, and I think it should be good to go. Now, keep in mind that if it's a large dart, then coming from a side seam at that point is going to sometimes not lay straight. It depends on I can't see how large the dart is. It looks like to me that it's sewn well. It looks like it just needs pressing, but it's hard for me to tell. Take the base of the dart, that's the part of the dart that's in the side seam, and move it down a couple inches. Like not a French dart, but kind of like a mini French dart. Take the side seam, move it down a couple inches, and leave the dart point where it is. The goal is when you have a longer dart, if it's larger, then it will graduate smooth. If it's too short and too tight, which is why darts from the armhole that are a D cup don't do well, because they're too big a darts in too small a space. So sometimes when we back these darts off and we try to put too big a dart in too small a space, then the whole design, the whole engineering is just not going to work. It's just too much too fast. So if you take the base of the dart, which is the part of the side seam, and move it down, you can get a longer dart that does the same exact thing, kind of a French type philosophy, but not as low as the French dart, and you can get it to lay smoother if you need that to do. And the way you do that is you cut where the dart is, you cut where you want the dart to be, you close up one and you open the other. So that's a very simple thing to do, base of pattern making, and easy. Question is, what pattern is your top tonight? This is 425. So this is a woven. 425 is Craig's blouse. I think it was the POM, wasn't it? I love this shirt. This is that viscose knit. I love it. I mean, I just love it. I could wear it literally all day, pajama, Anyway, it's 425. I don't know the fabric number. It's still online, but it's I think it's Dulce & Gabbana. That's who I think it is. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, just not sure. But anyway, it's 425. It's a woven pattern that I did in a knit. I did it with a knit armhole and a knit sleeve. Okay, this is a really sweet email. I thought I'd share it with you for all of you who maybe just need a little bit of encouragement. She said, I want to let you know that you've made my sewing so easy. I took my modified 195 and made a great little summer dress out of it, and I absolutely love it. And so I wanted to share that with you. It is adorable. Loving what we wear is just the best. It's absolutely the best when we feel comfortable with what we have on and we feel beautiful. And that's the goal. And she does. She looks beautiful. She's happy. She modified the neckline a little bit. I love it. I love hearing, that you have control, that you know what you're doing, and with a few this and a few that, you can do it. You can do it. So I thought I would share that little story with you. Okay, this next question is about an adjustment she made. Now this is the drawing that she sent me. This is pattern number 4218. 4218 is the knit sheath dress. A knit sheath dress goes very close to your back. It silhouettes the body very closely. I won't say tight, but it's very close. The shaping is very close. So she said she's still got diagonal wrinkles in the back. Diagonal wrinkles are depth. We know that, you guys. And I'm going to give a pitch for that class again, that LCD class, because I'm telling you, it will help you. It really will help you. It's $139. I know it's not inexpensive, but it's priceless as to what it will save you. And so it just did this whole thing on angular darting and what it is and how to fix it. And you do fix it it is a sway back. She says she's already corrected it. It doesn't matter if you've corrected it and there's still angular wrinkles, then you correct it more. Okay? So that is a depth issue. Angular wrinkles are depth issues. Okay. Keep in mind that when you are doing a pattern like 4218, because it is a knit top and it's a princess seam, and the princess seam, those angles change so quickly, that is why you're going to maybe see a little more correction than what you would in a sweater set, because it's just not as close to the body as what 4218 is. Okay, in this particular photo, I wanted to show you, she wanted to know a base pattern to start with. And certainly 611 is the one she asked me. The answer is yes. 611 would be perfect for this. She's just going to do a double collar. I think if you go back in the YouTubes, we actually did a double collar on that 611. So I wanted you to just see this great example of this. And remember that capes and all this kind of stuff is really popular right now. So this is just a really good pattern to be using. This is a sewing question. She's taking a collar, 600, how we put the collars on, how we put the cuffs on. They are folded, layered, overlapped, and then edge stitched in place, which is what ready to wear uses all the time. It's a ready to wear method. It's a great method, and it works really well. Her question is, she's having trouble with it. How can she get better? And you're not going to like this answer. It's a cheap answer, but the answer really is practice. Well, the other thing I would suggest besides practice is use natural fibers, because for a little while, until you get used to handling them. Like 100% cottons are going to help you so much more than trying to use polys right now, or a cotton poly. It will be so much easier to handle that 100% cotton or 100% silk, because they just press so beautifully. Use plenty of steam when you're pressing. Press it before you actually sew it in place, and like a cuff or a collar, sew it in place. The patience is in the pressing. Once you press it, slip it on in place. And again, press it before you sew, slip it over the neck edge, fold it neatly. And also, the other thing I would recognize is I would go shopping and look at how they're made, because I think we beat ourselves up a little more than what we should. And it's surprising how shockingly bad some of the things in the stores are. And I think if we looked at them, we'd say, oh my gosh, mine look better than that. And we buy them and we wear them, but we won't make them and wear them. We're a little more critical of ourselves than I think we should be. So that's just an FYI. And I hate to say that it's a practice, but it is just practice, and you'll do fine. Okay? The knit armhole. This is, she's taking a knit armhole and she's placing it on top of a woven blouse. So there's a few problems in her understanding. Now, just as a reference, there's several template videos that I've done on YouTube. So her problem is the misunderstanding of how to place the template. So notice this number 1, it's purple, it's not very light. I mean, it's not very dark. I didn't do a really good job. But the alignment point is at the red arrow, where I'm showing the red arrow. It's number 1. That's the first alignment point. Now, because this is a woven, this is what we talked about in the beginning, where the lady laid on her 600 blouse and I said it was too wide. This is too wide. Don't put it right on the edge. When you're lining and changing from a woven, move it in, either one size or two sizes. Make it narrower. This is a style decision, obviously, but I'm suggesting to you that you will like it better if it's a little neater on the shoulder. A knit top is narrower on the body than a woven blouse is. And you should measure what you like and put it on your Brett chart to measure from shoulder seam to shoulder seam. It goes right through center front so you can see what you like. Okay, the negative is, the problem is, or the incorrect thing is where the green arrow is, number 2, should be way up at that red line, should be swung up. The red line is extended up. The number 1 point is kept in place. The number 2 point should meet at the red line, and that's what creates your new armhole without sacrificing width. Okay, that picture hopefully will help you understand that. And it's really clear and easy once you get it. It's the easiest thing in the world. But sometimes getting rid of this old knowledge in your head is just tough. So let me know if you have any questions on that. But again, a very easy process. Okay, the next one is, I'm going to show you this right here. Sorry, this right here. She said when she's doing a rounded back, the center back seam at the neckline is no longer a straight line. And I've showed this before, but I just think if it's being asked again, you all needed to hear it again. So keep in mind that once you do the rounded back adjustment, you draw a new center back seam. It can be a straight line. It goes from the center back at the neckline to center back at the hem. Draw a new straight line. You are good to go. And that's it. Okay. I want to look at the next few photos because, well, no, I'm sorry. Okay, this next one, a lady has joined a contest. And the contest is one pattern, different looks. And in my mind, I would have her win the contest. I think she's done an amazing job. I think these tops just don't look anything like the same pattern. And I mean, kudos, congratulations. Okay, so these are silhouette patterns. She wants to know, and if you can see a number, let's see if I should make this a little bit small. Well, you can see in pattern in the bottom one, number 7, she's got a red circle, and she's wanting to know what makes these little tiny wrinkles. And what makes these little tiny wrinkles, those are circumference. You notice those are not diagonal, those are horizontal. And horizontal wrinkles are circumference. Notice in number 5, all of those wrinkles are horizontal. So she's choosing negative ease, and negative ease is okay, but in this case it's negative ease to the point that it's pulling under her arm. Now, having said that, fabrics could make a difference, because it could be that she just simply has on a cotton bra and a cotton shirt, and cotton grab each other, and the circumference doesn't shift easily around all the way around. So, oh my goodness, you did win? Oh my gosh, congratulations, I just saw that. Oh, this is Amy. We weren't supposed to tell who this was. Anyway, well, congratulations. You should have won. This is amazing. You did a great job. Okay, so, but anyway, it could be the fabric versus the bra that I'm wearing. So the suggestion would be take the bra off, put the shirt back on, and see if you get the same wrinkles. Okay? Most likely those wrinkles will go away. It's just pulling on the bra, and it's just not being able to shift. But those are horizontal wrinkles, and horizontal wrinkles 100% of the time mean that circumference is a problem. Yeah, I would say, though, everybody, we can definitely congratulate you. This is really incredible. I mean, that does not look like the same pattern. Great job. My kind of girl. One pattern, 100 different looks. Way to go. Really nice job. Okay, so the next few pictures that I'm going to show you, we're going to deal with pants. And you guys, you know, look, I know you struggle with pants. I know you struggle with pants, so I'm including these pictures so that we can get another perspective, a cleaner perspective. I'm going to go back and forth among the pictures because to be able to see the different pictures will give us different, kind of different things to think about, and then we'll have a little discussion. I know we're a little bit past time, and I know I really like to keep these at their at, but I want to open up this can of worms. Okay. So this is the front picture. We have three pictures. We have the front, we have the side, we have the back. And from those three pictures, we're going to be able to tell a lot. Okay, so number one, I circled between her crotch because there's too much width between her crotch, which means that, let's say if you're using one size hip and another size leg, the leg size that she's using is too large. She needs to come down in circumference in the leg size. And when you come down in circumference, you do that in the outseam and the inseam, and it will naturally make that leg smaller, and it will take away the little fripple, I call them parentheses, that's on the inside of the leg. Now, I want you to notice the dart. And actually, I'm calling it a dart, but it's actually not a dart. If you notice, it's the same size all the way around. And so what she's actually doing is nothing, except making the crotch depth shorter. And we're going to look at the side now. See how it continues all the way around? And even worse in the back, she's just made the whole entire thing shorter. That's all she's done. And in fact, it's so short, if you look at the crotch, it's going up between her butt cheeks. So that alteration is completely wrong. So step one, take that alteration out, because you should not, a pant, this is a stretch woven, just FYI for everybody. A stretch woven should not literally separate the cheeks of your butt. That is too short, okay? For everyone out there, it's too short. I'm surmising that the dart, that is, or it's not a dart, sorry, it's a tuck that goes all the way around, should come out, number one. Okay, once it comes out, you can see all the wrinkling behind. I'm going to tell you that you could take a dart where that tuck is, but it should taper to nothing at the side seam. The angular wrinkles at the hip line there, you can see, are telling you that the waistline is incorrect. But once you allow that to come out, I think those wrinkles will go away also. Okay, so step number one, take out all of those horizontal tuck. You're making the whole crotch too short. And the part of the response on this was it didn't feel too short. Well, then you're used to wearing your pants way too short. It is too short. And this is why photos are good, you guys, because what they do is they separate how you're feeling with how you're looking. And this looks clearly too short. I mean, I think all of us would not want to go in public like that because it's just too short. It looks uncomfortable. All right, so take that away, put a dart in. The dart will taper to nothing at the side seam and pull the pants down a little bit. Okay, then next, there needs to be a dart out of the inseam. The top of the inseam needs a dart, and that dart should taper to nothing at the outseam. Do that in the front and the back, and most likely when you do that, it will actually correct the little fripple that's right there, along with making the leg smaller. But the two of those things together will correct that next one. So don't start over. Don't start over. A lot of times you guys are saying, oh, I'm just going to start over. Don't start over because you've done, this is good. Just leave this, take that out all the way around, put a dart back there, put a dart at the top of the inseam, tapering to nothing, front and back, and then send more pictures and we'll go from there. But don't start all over it. I don't think it's ever a good thing to just say, oops, I got to start over. I mean, unless you've got change on top of change. She doesn't. This is looking good. Okay, she's just making the wrong corrections. Okay, last question. And then if you guys have any questions, we'll answer the questions you have, and then we'll call it good. She's cutting out 922. It's the easy shawl collar jacket. It's an unlined jacket. She decided to use a smaller sleeve size. I have your armhole templates. I tried both the blouse and the jacket templates. Neither of them fit exactly to the size 3 pattern. Do you use the jacket template only when it's in the 1000 numbers? Okay, so yes and no. Yes. The 922, because the whole reason it's in the 900 numbering is because it is not a jacket. I know it's called a jacket, but it's like the jean jacket. It's a blouse. It's a blouse sleeve and a blouse armhole. That really, what that means is it doesn't have an armhole. I mean, it doesn't have a shoulder blade, a shoulder pad. I'm sorry. It doesn't have a shoulder pad. It is it's a jacket. It's a two-piece sleeve, but no shoulder pad. Most of jackets have shoulder pads. Technical jackets, pattern jackets have shoulder pads. So it doesn't have a shoulder pad. So you wouldn't want to use an armhole, a jacket armhole on that, because it would be too big, because it has allowance for a shoulder pad in there. So you would go to the blouse armhole and you would use a blouse armhole on that. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, now having said that, I've gone through all my questions. Let me know what else you guys want to, the goal is to figure out what's holding me up from sewing. What are my issues that I'm being stuck with? What are my issues that I'm being stuck on? And let's get sewing. I sewed today and I had so much fun, and I just, I want you all to have that same joy. I want you to have the same joy. Okay, ask away. Did you guys see that email today that I sent out? I'll watch for the questions while I'm talking about our sewing cruise. Yay! How do I get those templates? There's two ways. You can either make them or buy them. So what you have to have when you have a template is it has to be a rigid medium. So it can't be a piece of fabric. It has to be a fixed medium. We made them out of plastic. So the plastic, doesn't matter how thick or thin it is, it doesn't make a difference, but the plastic is a fixed, rigid medium. So that's what you want. It could be cardboard. It doesn't matter what you make them out of. The armholes and sleeves are in our patterns. We didn't create anything. You just copy them right off our patterns. You start with the sleeve, you get the sleeve size that fits you, that you like, and then you take the armhole. The two never shall split. They stay together forever. And you can make your own templates off of our patterns, or you can buy the templates off of our website. They are plastic and they come with all the sizes. Okay, you can do either one. Yes, we're going on a cruise. I'm so excited. We're going on a cruise. And it's already filling up, and I'm just too excited. Shop by day, sew by night. Oh, what fun. And in fact, somebody at Spiffy last week, somebody said to me, oh, I've got an idea you won't want to do. I told you this on the webcast. Oh, I've got an idea you won't want to do. I said, what is that? They said, go on a sewing cruise. I said, we're almost ready to announce it. We're going on a sewing cruise. So I thought that was interesting that she didn't think I'd want to go. I'm like, I'm in. Do we get our own room for the New York trip? You do. Everybody is in a single room, yes. Yeah, I'm a big believer in single rooms, you guys. Only because I think we need our time to just kind of, well, I should say I need my time. I'm an introvert. I have to have my time where I can just kind of decompress, and then I'm all ready to go and have a great time, but I've got to have that solo time. Can you make a crotch template? No, you don't need a crotch template. They're all the same, sweetie. I hate to say that, but they're all the same. You could make your own crotch template. Find a pair of pants you like and then draw it out. You don't need me for that. I can just see that we'll get kicked off YouTube talking about crotches too much. On the sewing cruise subject, let's see. Oh, I lost that. Where'd it go? Can you make your... Oh, my flight is... Oh, I missed the question. Where'd it go? Do we get our own room for New York? I said yes. Can you make the crunch templates? I said no, but you can. My flight is 6 hours. Yeah, you can just come in the night before and stay the night. I haven't released what time the cruise is leaving yet. I've got to check those details. Hey, from Dallas. Yeah, it's hot here, huh? I'll have to release those details, but you can always come in the night before. It's Fort Lauderdale, which is so much nicer than Miami. To me, it's smaller, it's easier, it's closer to the airport. The docks and the airport are much closer in Fort Lauderdale than they are in Miami. So, and plus there's plenty of airport hotels where you can stay, so it's really easy to get in. You're an introvert? I am, very much so. This YouTube thing is not my thing, guys. It's a great way to teach. It's a great way to get a message out there, No question, I'm an introvert. Yeah. And in fact, as I get older, I get worse. Is that a bad thing to tell you all? Or is that just being truthful? That's just being truthful. Put your sewing machine in your carry-on. Yes. Yes. Put your sewing machine in your carry-on. You don't need a lot of, it's only a few days. You don't need a lot of clothes. Just, wear comfortable yoga pants, sweaters. We'll all have the same thing on. We'll all be twins. Yoga pants and sweater shirts. I mean, the sweater set. The t-shirt from the sweater set. It'll be a week of twinships. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Just free time. New York, I will tell you, the New York trip is sold out. But it's just scheduled. It's so busy that I love it. Don't get me wrong, but dinner, everything's so scheduled. To me, to lay back and go to the Bahamas, that just sounds wonderful. And I grew up in Miami, so, my dad took us to the Bahamas numerous times. And I just am I'm so excited to go back to the Bahamas, just for many, many reasons. Part of my growing up, all those things, but it sounds like a lot of fun. Can I bring scissors on the flight? Well, you might be able to bring them on the flight, but you can't bring them on the boat. They have to be less than 4 inches to get on the boat. So I'll be selling a lot of my little smaller scissors. We've got a smaller pair. Maybe I'll just bring a dozen pair so that y'all don't have to worry about it. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll just bring everybody a small pair of scissors so you don't even have to worry about it. Don't bring scissors, and they just have to be under 4 inches, and I'll clear them with the cruise, and then I'll just bring a pair of scissors for everybody. Expected to have carry-on flag to be inspected. Expect to have your carry-on. Yeah, I mean, when you're having a sewing machine, I mean, one time I was carrying, we're way over time, but anyway, one time I was doing I was carrying on a sewing machine. I had it in my carry-on, and I was at a small airport. I can't remember where it was, but they stopped me. They said, "What is this?" I said, "It's a sewing machine. Do you sew for a living?" Nah, no, sort of. Yes, whatever. And the pilot had to give it an okay. And literally the pilot had to I had to wait. The pilot came to the, inspection place. And he said, "What is this?" I said, "It's a sewing machine." He said, "I'll make you a deal. I'll let you on the plane if you promise to fix my shirts while we're in flight." Ha 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 ha. I didn't fix the shirt. But you can get on with a sewing machine. I've taken it many, 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 many times. But yeah, it'll cause you a little bit of a delay. That's probably a good heads up. It'll cause you a little bit of a delay, but not a big deal. Okay, so, oh yes, it's just going to be fun, and we're going to cruise and relax and just sew. Or even just fit. We'll have 3 hours each day where we'll have a little fitting class. And, even if you don't bring a sewing machine, you can just get your muslins fitted, bring a lot of pins. Pins are allowed. And maybe we'll just fit and we won't even bother to sew. Okay? Good way to meet someone. If you're looking, yes, it is. If you're looking for someone to meet, yes, it is. My mother-in-law took hers to Hawaii with no problem. Oh, yeah, I've gone all over with my sewing machine. Even post-COVID, pre-COVID, there's no problem with the sewing machine. All right, you all, so I am 20 minutes over what I'm supposed to be, okay? So the goal is happy sewing. We will see you in like 10 days. We're doing our POM, our August POM is the pattern 1900. We'll release our dickies. We're excited about our little dickies, and we'll just go from there. Our new pattern sales are closed. You can order them individually, but not as a pack. That's over. And we're working on them. I love that. I tell people I sew, I don't mend. Oh, I should have, yeah, that's a good line. I should have used that one. Sorry about that. Maybe you'll be doing another cruise next year. No, sweetheart. Don't. This is not this next year stuff, okay? This is what we're doing. Just because we've done the New York trip for 10 years doesn't mean we're doing everything year after year. I was asked if it was a sewing machine before they opened the suitcase. Yeah. All right, you guys. See you next time. Happy sewing. Love you all. Mwah. Bye.